the co-main event of the evening. Raquel "Rocky" Pennington taking on Mayra Bueno Silva, MBS. And Mayra Bueno Silva, they did her wrong, right? They ended up giving her a no contest for that Holly Holm fight because she took some Adderall, because she took some Ritalin, whatever it was. She had a little ADHD medication. So she was focused on getting that choke. All right. Just give her a break as far as I'm concerned. But when I'm looking at this, I say to myself, man, Mayra Bueno Silva, young, dangerous, really talented in all positions. She's going to be 32 years of age coming into this contest compared to 35 years of age for Raquel Pennington. So not a massive gap here, but 3 years can be substantial. And when you look at the Raquel Pennington side, she's 15-8 overall as a professional. So definitely a lower winning percentage as a pro compared to somebody like Mayra Bueno Silva. And you look, the Ketlen Vieira split decision. I mean, that could have really went either way, but she went out there and gutted out that win. Aspen Ladd no longer with the organization, been on a little bit of hard times recently. Macy Chiasson, another girl that's kind of always flaked out in the big moments and the big opportunities. She was putting it on Raquel Pennington in the early going there, and then it all went sideways in round 2, right? We've seen that story play out before. Then she beat Penny Kianza. She beat Marion Renault, who's no longer fighting, right? Retired. She actually lost to Holly Holm via unanimous decision. That was her last loss back in 2020. It was a rematch of a fight that she also lost via decision back in 2015. So she had 2 cracks at Holly Holm, wasn't able to get it done. Meanwhile, Mayra Bueno Silva, 1 crack at Holly Holm, a little bit of Ritalin. She's able to snatch that ninja choke, almost popped the eyes out of Holly Holm's head. And when you look at Holly Holm prior to that, I had actually bet Ketlen Vieira by submission. I bet Mayra Bueno Silva on the money line, and I bet Mayra Bueno Silva by KO against Holly Holm at plus 1,500, and she was diddy bopping her on the feet. Holly Holm wanted nothing to do with it. She started to wrap her up in the clinch, try and grab a hold of her, and then what happened? She got ninja choked. Thanks for playing. So I think that when you look at Mayra Bueno Silva's game, she's very impressive to me with her power, as well as her submission acumen for this women's MMA game. I just talked about it a little bit in the main event, how I was looking at some of that violent tendencies from Duplessis and the ability to finish fights. And I kind of see that same ability in Mayra Bueno Silva, whereas we see a lot more decisions from Raquel Pennington over the course of her professional career. Just 5 finish wins for Raquel Pennington. And Mayra Bueno Silva has had 8 career finishes in a fraction of the fights. So for me, I think of Mayra Bueno Silva as a much more dangerous fighter at this stage of her career. And I also think of her as somebody who's a little bit more marketable, frankly. So who's got more followers? Who's got a bigger social presence right now? There's no question it's Raquel Pennington, but she's also had bigger moments, bigger spots, bigger opportunities. And I think that for Mayra Bueno Silva, she's been waiting for an opportunity to break out. Thought that Holly Holm fight was a big step in the right direction, but I didn't think it took her all the way to where she needed to go. Holly Holm's a little bit of an older name in the division, an elder stateswoman, maybe didn't have the same run of wins coming into that fight. So she didn't really get that same rub that a lot of people have gotten from beating Holly Holm. So when you look at this, I say to myself, man, this is a girl in Mayra Bueno Silva who I think the UFC would love to get behind. She's got some ability to go out there and finish women. She's got an ability to go out there and stagger women, hurt them. And let's just look at the women that she's lost to in her UFC run. She lost to Marina Moroz back in 2020 in her second UFC appearance. So, Marina Moroz had a little bit more experience than her at the time, was able to get one over on her. Then she has the draw with Montana De La Rosa. That's a little bit of a concerning look, to be fair. But Montana De La Rosa, awkward style, goes out there to push the wrestling pace. Then she lost to Manon Fiorot. I mean, frankly, that's just a very acceptable loss. So when I'm thinking about a fight like this, I just say to myself, are her wins crazy good? No, the Yanan Wu, Stephanie Egger with some controversy, Lena Landsberg, but they tried to set her up with the Miesha Tate fight. I think she would have absolutely won that fight. Then they set her up with the Holly Holm fight. She doesn't technically get the win on her resume, but she's got the win in our hearts and minds. So she's 5-2-1-1 in the UFC. very weird record, but I think overall she's a good fighter, and I think she's a dangerous girl, and I think she could put Rocky in some dangerous situations. So if we look back historically, Raquel Pennington has been TKO'd once, and she has been submitted once in her career. Amanda Nunes was able to TKO her in the 5th round, and if you remember, she tried to tell her corner, I don't want to go out for this 5th round. They sent her out there anyway, and she got beat up in that one. Tough look in that spot, unfortunately. And then Kat Zingano back in 2012 was able to submit her. So she has not been submitted since 2012. But you look at the quality of grapplers that she's faced in the interim, and I'm not really sure who would be able to, press her in the grappling to the same degree. So I think this should be a fantastic fight. And I'm really looking forward to it. I do think Rocky Pennington is not drawing dead in this fight. She pushes a hard pace. She's a tough woman. She wants to be out there fighting. Married to Tisha Torres, 2 girls that have been with the UFC for a long time. Or I don't know if she's married. She's with Tisha Torres, whatever. You know the deal. But I think that overall, these are good fighters. These are solid fighters, both of them. But I prefer the Mayra Bueno Silva side. I know she's the favorite. I know she's chalked out here, but I think she's going to get the job done in this spot. I think she's the more dangerous fighter. So give me Mayra Bueno Silva to get the job done. Before we move off this fight, let's just quickly discuss the anthropomorphics here. We are going to have the 3-year youth advantage for Mayra Bueno Silva at 32 years of age. And we are going to have a 1-inch reach advantage as well as a 1-inch height advantage for the Raquel Pennington side. So she's going to be slightly bigger here according to Tapology. But I think that Mayra is a little bit more dangerous, like I mentioned. So I'm not sure that the size will play a huge factor here. I think both women going to be at virtual size parity. And I think Mayra is just a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more dangerous at this point in their career. So give me Mayra Bueno Silva by finish.